Welcome to the Uriah Jokes podcast, the podcast that stays up all night worrying about the debt that the U.S. economy is currently under because I spend so much of my life watching graphics online and pie charts that I don't understand because they make me hungry. And speaking about something that makes someone hungry, listening to this podcast because they're hungry for jokes. And I am Uriah. This is my podcast. You like that intro? Intro's fantastic. And me, I had a plan here. Tell some jokes. You know, do YouTube things where I say words and you're like, oh, those words are kind of funny. So I will continue to listen. But I've lived in this house for multiple months in Santa Barbara. But I am currently on my way to moving to LA. The beautiful LA where it is not a third world country. Well, actually, when you're at an open mic in LA, it certainly sounds like it, because the sense of humor, you get the sense that there is a problem with the city. But guess what? But basically, the couple months I've been in this house in Santa Barbara, I've been constantly harassed by the government agency of the Census Bureau. And this isn't a joke. I like to, when I wake up in the morning, make myself a coffee, because it's the 5 minutes in my life where it is going from the dream world, which is actually reality if you ask your dreams, because the last thing you want to know is your dreams aren't real, and if your dreams aren't real, then what the hell is reality? So I like to go on the porch, write some jokes, drink some coffee, be productive over that 5 minutes, because everything else goes downhill from there. And then this guy comes up to me, and when I'm in that good mood, I'll do anything. I'll say yes to a lot of stuff when I'm drinking that coffee just to make it end. And this guy comes up, it's like, yeah, I'm from the U.S. Census Bureau, and your house has been selected to do a survey. And I'm like, what does the survey say? And I'm like, oh, what? See, I thought, at least in Canada, is if you do not do the census, you can be fined and go to jail. But this is a completely different thing. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do your survey, man. I'm just going to drink this coffee. And he starts asking me questions. So this is actual U.S. Census Bureau worker asking me, how many people live in the house? What do they do for work? How much money do they make? What type of banking do they do? How many laptops are owned? What time are we home? What time do we leave the house? Were we on unemployment? When do we plan on getting more TVs? And as this went on, I'm like, I don't want to answer any more of these questions, man. You're like the world's worst robber. You're trying to get an itemized list of everything that we own. So I said, and then he's like, yeah, I'm going to come back for 2 more months and check to see how you guys are. Yeah, I had 1 laptop. Now I have 18 laptops, man. It's all those. So he comes back again. And I give him my number because, I'm drinking the coffee. Anything can happen when you're drinking the coffee. I drank the Kool-Aid in the form of a caffeinated beverage that I can't even grow in my own home. That is an industrial revolution of a joke. And then he keeps calling. I'm like, I'm done with this survey now. If I don't have to do it, I'm done with it. And he keeps knocking on the door, peering in the windows. This guy looks like he's casing the place and trying to get in it while we're home. So I get my other roommates to say, yeah, no, he's not here. Another roommate said, yeah, he's sleeping. It's like, you could have just told him I was dead and we would be done with this. And I'm okay with letting the census know that I'm dead, because then they'll mark me as dead and I'll never have to pay my taxes again. So he keeps coming by, and eventually I'm like, I gotta call the census. So I called the census, make sure this isn't like a real thing. They're like, yeah. And then I'm like, I want this guy to stop coming to my house. He knocks on the door, And the way he knocks on the door is like he's sending an encrypted message to the U.S. government. And I don't know what that encrypted message is. I'm not a Morse code. I'm from Canada. I'm from the Moose code. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand here. Yeah, I wouldn't want a guy visiting the house multiple times, which they said he wasn't supposed to do. So I'm like, I don't want this guy to come to our house again and ask how many laptops I have and what time I go to the bathroom. It's not the U.S. government's interest to know how many times I flush the toilet. Because guess what? I'm flushing the toilet every time I make a call. Because that costs money. And every time I buy something, I'm flushing money down the toilet in the form of sales taxes. So he keeps coming to the house, and then he's gone for multiple months. But I start thinking, okay, so we got this debt problem, right, in America. If you're, I'm concerned about the debt. I'm concerned about my own debt. The debt that I went into debt trying to get into community college. What kind of community allows me to get in a collage of debt for trying to increase my probability of getting hired at a McDonald's, a McJob? I'm talking about making minimum wage. And then pay taxes, and then we go full circle. What I realize is what they're doing is they're going door to door, getting to know how many laptops we have, how much valuables we have. So eventually they're going to come here and be like, yeah, the U.S. Census is now the U.S. yard sale service, where they're going to start selling my stuff to pay for the bills because they keep bailing out the big banks. So what I've done is I've converted myself, and I now identify as a big bank. So when they come in here and try to do my yard sale, I'm going to be like, hey man, that money goes to me because I'm a big bank. Definitely what you guys have just heard not only shows how little I actually understand about the U.S. economy, or how little I care about the economy. All I know is eventually all you need to do is when they come and knock on the door, you yell, fuck off! And then they'll return the very next day and send you more mail. Oh, you gotta do this survey. We need to know how many laptops you have. Unbelievable. They asked how many hours am I working? I'm working too many hours. What's too many hours? So all I know now is that I need to become a census worker, because you can go as many times to someone's house as possible, and there's more people in this house and probably in other people's houses at most open mics. So I'm just gonna go around and start doing mics to be like, yeah, I need to get a consensus from the census about how good these jokes are. And it wouldn't be the Uriah Jokes podcast without telling some jokes. Some people drink soda water. Soda water is like water with a personality. It's bubbly. It's bubbly. Alright, here we go. I was drinking this alcoholic kombucha, and on the can it said gluten-free, probiotic, keto, paleo. Man, this alcohol is healthier than me. If I was a can, it would say acid reflux, expired, dollar store, depression. And this has been the Uriah Jokes podcast, the only podcast that is on the #1 hit list from the U.S. Census Bureau. That's right, this podcast is the #1 podcast listened to by the U.S. Census Bureau. I've done many things in my life. I've climbed Machu Picchu twice. I've gone to over 10 mics in one day. I produced dozens and dozens of sold-out shows, and I continue to produce the biggest outdoor comedy show in Santa Barbara. But never, in my career of stand-up, did I think that I would be the official podcast that the U.S. Census constantly wants to be a guest on, so you can continue to knock on my door. But you better be knocking on a different door, because I'm on the stairway to heaven, and that stairway to heaven is blessed with the steps of alcohol, and the first step is admitting that you need to hit that like and subscribe button because this is a podcast.